As we head into 2022, I wanted to give you my 10 favorite movies of 2021. How's it? Welcome to Tom Takes Reviews. My name is Sean Tom, and this is where I give you my take. If you enjoy this kind of content, please hit that like and subscribe button for me. It helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff. Let me know down in the comments, what were your favorite 10 movies? I'm always looking for new movies to watch. I wasn't able to watch them all, so let me know, and I look forward to responding to them. But without further ado, at number 10, it's Mitchell versus the Machines. I had no knowledge of this film going into it, and it's a rare animated feature that I enjoyed thoroughly. It has great laugh out loud moments. It has a good message. I believe it was going to be released in theaters, but because of the pandemic, Netflix got it. So it has a great father-daughter relationship. It's a movie that I don't think many people probably expected to like that much. It's the same creators as Into the Spider-Verse, which a lot of people liked. So if you like that, I would highly recommend this one. At number 9, it's The Night House. The only horror movie to make the list this year. There was a scene that got me to jump, and I rarely jump, but it got me. I would actually suggest not watching the trailers. I think the trailer misled what I thought I was gonna be watching, and it didn't take away from the experience, but the trailer kind of sets you up for one thing, and then as you're watching it, it's not really exactly what is happening. Still very interesting, very good horror mystery, decent twist in the end. Highly recommend. Great performance by Rebecca Hall too. At number 8, it's Nobody. Great action thriller, great one-liners by Bob Odenkirk. Christopher Lloyd's in this. When I saw the trailer for this, I was like, this is another type of John Wick, but not as great action. And the action surprised me. It was very well shot, very well choreographed. It was a huge surprise to me, and I think that's why I liked it so much, because I had no expectations going in, but I loved every minute of it. At number 7, we have Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds. I actually didn't watch this until New Year's Eve, and I enjoyed every minute. Ryan Reynolds is hilarious. It has great cameos, and the little things that they throw in there is it's just a good fun time. You don't really have to think much about what's happening. You can just kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy this kind of film. I wish I had saw this in theaters as well, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance. So if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. At number 6, we have A Quiet Place 2. I still like the first one better. I know a lot of people thought this was a perfect sequel. The sequel is better. I disagree. I think the first one was more emotional. It had more of I just felt like the first one was a little bit more impactful. The second one, I felt some things to move the plot along, dumb character decisions that probably wouldn't have happened. Still, I like the performances. It's very quick. It moves by very quickly. There's hardly any break between tension, which is great. But again, it's because of some characters doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing, and that's just like a minor thing that I thought of, which is why I like the first one better than this one. Still a great sequel, and as nervous as I was for a sequel to such a great first one, they did a good job with it, so I would recommend it. At number 5 is Coda. Great story about a girl whose family is deaf, and she has a great talent for singing and music, and the dynamic that she has to go through with the family and the challenges that the family and her go through. I mean, it's great stuff. It's also hilarious. I believe this is a Hulu. I could be wrong. It could also be Apple TV. I think it's Apple TV, honestly. Great performances throughout. This is not a movie that I typically like, but if you can engage me when you're sitting at home in a drama/comedy type of movie like this is, I gotta put it on the list, and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this one. At number 4, we have Dune. I know a lot of people were excited for this. I wasn't super excited for it. I have no prior knowledge of this book or the other film, the original film that they made. What I did know was that this was a part 1. A lot of people going in did not know that it's part 1, so that helped with expectations, and it does start a bit on the slow side, but it really helped me, who had no knowledge of this, to learn the world that I'm watching, that I'm going to be involved in for this film and then for part 2. Amazing cinematography. The action scenes are very well done as well, and I was invested in all these characters that were introduced, and I'm even more now intrigued for part 2. It is a little long. If that's not your cup of tea or you want to wait till part 2, you can do that too, but if you like sci-fi action, this is a no-brainer for me. At number 3 is Black Widow. I know a lot of fans were disappointed, but I think as a standalone film, if this was released in chronological order, I think people would have liked this better. But because we already know, spoiler, Black Widow dies, didn't mean as much to people. And I totally understand that. But as a standalone Marvel film, I had a great time. I laughed, I enjoyed the action. Florence Pugh absolutely destroys this film. She is the absolute best part. I can't wait to see more of her in the MCU. She is in Hawkeye, spoiler alert. But her taking kind of the reins of Black Widow, this is the movie that puts her there. So from that perspective, it makes perfect sense. So I'm a Marvel sucker, and you're gonna see why, because at number 2 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I just watched this again recently. The martial arts action is beautifully done, and I went in with pretty decent expectations because of good word of mouth, and it exceeded those expectations. I was nervous about Awkwafina. She does a good job. She doesn't oversell or overdo what I feel like she normally does in movies where she's the kind of the comic relief, but she plays this perfectly. It is a little flashback heavy. The ending is a little too much CGI, but this is one of my favorite Marvel movies. This would be in my top 10 for sure. And then at number 1, it's Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm not even a huge Spider-Man fan. I rewatched the other 2 Spider-Man films, and they honestly were okay. They weren't the best. They wouldn't make my top 10 in my Marvel top 10 movies. Then I hear good word of mouth, so my expectations are raised even more, and they exceeded them. It's action-packed, emotional, funny. It has everything you want in a Marvel movie. It has everything you want in a normal movie. I highly recommend it if you're a Marvel fan. Obviously, if you're a Marvel fan, you've seen this, you probably love it too. I haven't seen a negative review on it. And if you go back and kind of go through the other 2 films, the other 2 Spider-Man films, to get to where we are now, it's just beautifully done. Congratulations to Marvel. You did it again. I'm excited for the rest of 2022 and the movies it brings. That is going to do it for the take today, and I'll catch you next time. Shoots!